Now, since the booster course pass is finally over, there are 96 tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Some better, some worse. Now, surprisingly, or not surprisingly, many of these tracks are really good, but some of them are just and in this video, we're able to figure out which track is the very best and which track is the very worst. So stay tuned in. Also, if you disagree on some of these opinions, leave comments down below. But at the end of the day, it's just my opinion. But now, let's get into the rankings of all 96 tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Let's go. Before I can mention what is the worst track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, we need to understand what makes a good course, in my opinion. A good course must be fun and must have good content. With that out of the way, the worst track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is... It's Toad Circuit. Yeah, I have no idea what you're expecting, but this is easily and vastly the worst track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Here is why. Firstly, what is this texture? Like, bro, I understand that these are from Mario Kart Tour, but seriously, this grass and buildings and basically the entire graphics of this whole track is so f***ing ugly. It's also kinda boring. There are 2 shortcuts though, and they're pretty nice for such a short track. And even though this is in last place, remember, it just barely got last place, because the next track, even though I like it more, it's only because it has slightly more content, but it is an absolute disgrace from what it could be. And the missed opportunities are so wild. That track is going to be none other than Tokyo Blur. Yep, you heard me right. Tokyo Blur is the second worst course in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. First off, since it was in the Wave 1, the graphics are just so bad. And normally, I would be fine with it because it's just an excuse that they're from Wave 1. But this is Tokyo we're talking about. Tokyo, in my opinion at the very least, is one of the most luxurious cities in the entire world. And they executed this course so incredibly poorly. Now, before I continue ranting on how the graphics are so bad, the thing is that they're bad by Tokyo standards. For tour stage tracks, it's actually not that bad, but for Tokyo standards, it's just disgusting. Like, really, all they had to do was make it nighttime and make the colors pop out more. A good example of making an ugly background look very beautiful has to be Singapore Speedway. There, because it was nighttime and the buildings popped out more, it made it look very beautiful. But here, they didn't decide to do that. It's honestly a missed opportunity, but alas. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the track is also kind of boring. Like, it's just road with a couple of flumps here and there. So yeah, its content is not that good, and it's not really that fun. It also has pretty music, honestly. But anyways, now we're going to be talking about Sunset Wilds. Now, even though Sunset Wilds is placing 94th place, it's really hard to rank all of the courses in Mario Kart. They're all so good, with very few downfalls for some of the tracks. But this one has a really big downfall. The sun never sets. But besides that, the track is honestly pretty good, actually. With that being said, even though the sun does not set, it's still a pretty good course. There's mud as obstacles, there's shortcuts that are nice, the Shy Guys are pretty good obstacles, but the only reason why this is placed so low is again, the sun doesn't set. And because Mario Kart 8's track roster is really, really good. Also, honorable mention to the music. The music? Oh my god, it is so good. This track is placed in 94th place, but it has one of my favorite musics. Listen to it. They went so hard with the music, but they removed the main gimmick of the track, a soul for a soul. Water Park is the most disappointing track of a gimmick for any course in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe besides Sunset Wild. Like, do you know how exhilarating water slides are? It's just so cool. There's so many possibilities you could do with a water park. Like, you guys somehow made a freaking bathroom exhilarating and fun to race on. But when you guys make a water park, you made it the most boring thing ever. The whole track is dedicated to this one big, so long, left goofy on turn. Like, that's it? It's just a turn, and that's what you did? It doesn't even, it's supposed to be a loop-de-loop, but it doesn't even feel like a loop-de-loop. I will say though, the shortcut at the end is pretty nice, and bonking your cart into the Wario Ferris wheel is pretty cool, but that's all it really has. Sky High Sunday is just mid in my opinion. First off, despite it being more colorful than Sweet Sweet Canyon, it's a bit too plasticky. If it was just a bit more realistic, it would have looked better. Because let me tell you, the colors are very colorful. So it's got some places there, the treats are nice, and stuff like that. But besides that, there's not really much. The layout is a circle, inspired by what? The music isn't good, it's not that fun, it's overall just a meh track, okay? Next. That's right, Bangkok Rush is next. Now you may be asking yourself, why is Bangkok Rush so low? Well, the thing is that it's just not fun. But I really do not know why. It has quite a bit of content with its different types of scenery. It looks decent-ish. The music is also decent-ish, I guess, but you'd think at that point it would be placed higher in like C tier or something. But I don't know, man. I just don't find it interesting in my opinion. Alright, next track. Dry desert. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone was expecting this to be near the bottom of the list. Like, this is the most generic desert track. The graphics are actually pretty nice. I like the scenery. But besides that, there's really not much. First off, unlike in the original, the tornadoes and the giant piranha plants are gone. But do you know what they did to this course that makes no sense in favor of removing those cool, decent-ish elements? They added water. Like, are you serious? Normally, I would be fine with water, but it's called dry desert. Also, if you have a golden mushroom, you're basically guaranteed to win since the entire left and right sides of the tracks are just shortcuts. And they're actually really wide, so yeah, you're almost guaranteed to win. Sky Garden is also meh. Like, I'm so tired of meh tracks. Can we move on? But seriously, this track is just boring. But that's not why people dislike it. They dislike it because it lacks what made the original so likable. But the thing is that I never grew up with Super Circuit or DS. So the track not understanding what made the original so good isn't much of a problem for me. The thing I don't like about this track is that it's just boring. It's basically just a circuit track in the sky, and it tries not to be, but it fails miserably. It can never compete with something like Cloud Top Cruise or something. So entend le premier cours du passé des cours de rugby, c'est un bon cours. Même si c'est à test basique. Il y a trop effet, une fire nana, différents chemins. Et change même le parcours au troisième tour. Ce n'est pas mauvais, mais ce n'est pas non plus une bonne moisson. Why are so many tracks made? This is like the 5th one that we have. But anyways, Excite Bike Arena is just a giant oval with a bunch of ramps. The ramps are randomized, but it doesn't change the gameplay that much. I will admit though, the music is quite good. But other than that, this track is mid! So just like Bangkok Rush, I don't really understand why I don't like this track. It includes a lot of locations like a garden and underwater. But I don't know, it just isn't really fun to play on. I just can't explain it. With that being said, if a decent course is being placed this low, then that just shows how good of Mario Kart 8's roster is. It's just that good. Speaking of which, the music is actually quite good. Listen to it. Bone Dry Dunes is our first track on this list in a while. That isn't a mix rock. Let's go. But seriously though, why is this place super low? AKA high C tier. First off, and this may just be a skill issue, but this bumpy section is so hard and annoying to drive on that it infuriates me. Second of all, the aesthetics are inspired by my least favorite color, orange. Also, it just doesn't have much content. You're basically driving through a sandy road throughout the whole course. Rock, mountain! The intro is a lie. This track is just pure C+. This track is the most average track I've ever seen. It isn't great, it isn't bad, it's just good, average. There's nothing that it exceeds to excel at, but it also doesn't do anything garbage, besides maybe the graphics. That's it. I will admit though, I really do like how most of the second half is just grass you can take with a mushroom. That's kind of cool. How could we possibly put Ice Outpost in C tier? Why? This track's gimmick just fails kind of miserably. The whole gimmick is that there's 2 paths throughout the entire course. The thing is that I love alternate paths. So you may be asking yourself, why is this place so low? It's because they're literally the same path. Now, sometimes I'm okay with this, like in Electrodrome, but this is throughout the entire course. There's no real obstacle besides falling off. So, yeah, this is just a boring road with 2 different lanes. Daisy Circuit. Another road with a couple of cool buildings to look at, with a pretty neat little shortcut with cool statues, and that's about it. Really not much. I will have to admit though, I like the sidewalk that you can drive on. It's a pretty cool gimmick and I just kind of like that. I also just don't like how the music sounds, but I do like how Daisy Circuit is in the background. A much better course we'll get to later on in this video. Vancouver Velocity, the only Tour City course I'm actually familiar with. Anyways, is it a good representation of what Vancouver is? Well, sort of. Now, it does a pretty good job with filler unlike most city tracks, but the thing with this one is that the third lap just kind of makes the track anticlimactic. The first 2 laps are great and all, but the third lap is just road with the arena twice. With that being said, even though this track is in like 81st place, it's still a good course. This track is good and you cannot change my mind. Now, I understand it's a very simple course, but guess what? I like simple. It's literally just
pure racing
with items and a ton of shortcuts. It's awesome, don't get me wrong, but you really can't deny that simple isn't the greatest thing ever. Like, the background is, the track is completely flat, and the obstacles are really easy. Also, legit, I ain't kidding, there are so many shortcuts on this track, it's became a famous bagging track. Just take a look.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, and finally, number 10.
Yep, I decided to split this video into different sections of parts because this is taking a really long time. This video took me a really long time to make, so I hope you subscribe and like the video. Anyways, peace out.